I received a call from my bestie. Your plan has brought our company a lot of profit. My boss wants to join us to work abroad. What do you think? I stared at my graduation certificate, covered in a thick layer of dust. I agree. See you at the airport in a week. That day, Enzo came home, walked up to me and said, Caroline is seriously ill. Her last wish is to have a wedding with me. I promised her it would happen in a week. You'll be with Caroline to support her. I lowered my head and replied, I understand. A week later, I boarded the plane, and Enzo kept calling. I sent a break-up text message, then removed the SIM card and threw it into the trash. This time, never to see you again. Welcome to Love Story. It was the first time I answered to Enzo so calmly. He froze for a moment and left the room. I didn't even look, and packing my luggage. Before night, he came back. The first thing he did was call me to have dinner. On the table were 5 dishes, among them chicken and fish, Enzo's specialties and Caroline's favorites. Enzo prepared the lunchbox, patiently picking out every single fishbone from the fish, until he was sure there were none left, before putting it into the box. But when we first got together, I asked him to peel a shrimp for me, and he found it too much trouble. While picking up food, his phone kept ringing. He glanced at it, quickly covered the lunchbox, and said, You eat first, I'll go deliver some food. With that, he hurried out the door. I didn't eat and put the rest of the food into the thermal box. I cooked myself a bowl of my favorite egg noodles. By noon, there was no sign of him, not even a single message. But yesterday was my 24th birthday. Before Caroline came back, he would wish me a happy birthday at midnight every year. Now, even that blessing is a luxury I can no longer expect. Caroline and Enzo are childhood sweetheart, but 4 years ago she left for another man. Since then, Enzo drowned himself in alcohol every day, living like a rat. Until he met me. He started working and kept getting promoted. For a while, I thought it was my true love who saved him. But a month ago, Caroline returned. That's when I realized the Bonnie he drunkenly spoke of during their loving moments wasn't me. It turned out, he could run through every night market at 3 in the morning, just to buy her a bowl of wontons. When I begged him to go shopping with me, he would just transfer money and say he was too busy at company. I took a deep breath, and crossed off a day on the calendar. I came to study, and decided to open his computer in Enzo's room. I trembled as I used Caroline's birthday to unlock the computer. As soon as it opened, there were intimate messages between the two. Enzo, I miss you. Me too. Living with her today only made me miss you more. I'll come to be with you tomorrow. It turned out he already brought her back home when I was out for a week. Foolishly, I had even prepared a week's worth of meals for him and stored them in the freezer, and despite being overwhelmed with work, I never forgot to remind him to eat on time. His phone was filled entirely with photos of Caroline, 3,000 pictures in just 1 month. But there were only a handful of my photos on his computer. When I saw their wedding pictures, it felt like a bucket of ice water had been poured over me, chilling me to the bone. So what does that make me now? This morning, as I passed through the living room after getting up, Enzo was already sitting on the sofa, constantly replying to messages with a slight smile on his lips. My chest felt tight. Every time I sent him a message, all I got back were, and, okay. It turned out he don't have words was for me. Coming out of the bathroom, I saw he had already poured the soy milk, and placed the fried dough sticks he brought back into bowls on the table. As soon as I sat down, Enzo brought the breakfast over to me. Eat quickly, it won't taste good once it gets cold. He would have already left at this time before. Is something wrong? I asked directly before even picking up my chopsticks. Caroline is about to be discharged from the hospital, and she has no one to take care of her. I want her to move in with us. I was silent for a moment. Okay, then I picked up a piece of fried dough, took a bite. It was crispy and crunchy. The texture I liked, but now it felt like chewing trash. Enzo was sitting beside me, not getting up. I looked at him and continued. Anything else? He looked like he found it hard to say out loud, and sometimes I really resented my own understanding nature. I'll move the stuff after I finish eating. Enzo cleared his throat and explained, the room you're staying in is bright and sunny, which is good for her physical and mental recovery. I gave a deep hum of acknowledgement. Seeing me get up, he handed me a tissue. You move into my room, I'll sleep in the living room. Recalling the excitement I felt when I first moved in, I had imagined the two of us living happily here. It turned out that was just wishful thinking on my part. Suddenly, I noticed a small box in the cabinet, inside which was only earrings. This was the only gift Enzo ever gave me, and I treasured it so much that I couldn't bear to wear it, and kept it stored away. When I opened the box, I saw the earrings had oxidized and rusted. I couldn't find a cloth to polish silver in my room, so I went to his room. The weather was bad, and the room was a bit dim. I turned on the light and searched around, then found a jewelry box and a letter in the drawer. I restrained myself from opening it, but in the end, curiosity got the better of me and I unfolded the letter. It was written by Enzo, and inside the jewelry box was a jade bracelet passed down through his family. He had planned to give it to Caroline when she moved in. I gave a bitter smile and threw the earrings in my hand into the trash. The next day, Enzo came back with Caroline. Caroline's smile revealed, incredibly sweet. The moment she saw me, she reached out her hand first. Hello, I'm Caroline. Sorry to bother you all. This time, I smiled faintly. Caroline awkwardly withdrew her hand and rubbed her hands together. Enzo immediately helped Caroline sit on the sofa, poured her some hot water, and then peeled an apple for her. I stood beside them feeling unnecessary, slowly lifting my foot and walking into their room. Bonnie, where's the rag? Enzo asked aloud. I turned to look at him and pointed toward the bathroom, in the left cabinet. I saw him immediately run towards the bathroom, take out a rag, and head to the room I had been in before. I sat quietly by the desk, listening to the sounds outside. Enzo, what's wrong? Caroline blushed and said, I need to use the bathroom. In an instant, Enzo knocked on my door. Bonnie, Caroline needs your help. I opened the door and walked straight past him, helping Caroline into the bathroom. When I saw her crouch down, I finally let go and turned around. Caroline made a sound, and I turned my head. Enzo rushed in from the living room, his face full of worry. Caroline, what's wrong? Before I could react, he pushed me aside and carried Caroline out. I went to the living room, where Enzo was carefully blowing on Caroline's wound and applying medicine. Caroline gasped sharply, and Enzo's brow furrowed deeply. He looked at me with anger and scolded. Caroline is the patient. How could you let her get hurt? Sitting beside him, Caroline grabbed his hand, her eyes red as she looked up and said, Don't blame Bonnie. I accidentally fell. Please don't argue with Bonnie because of me. Enzo supported Caroline gently and said, Don't make excuses for her. If she were even half as sensible as you, she wouldn't have let you fall. Then, turning to me with anger, he demanded, Apologize. My heart tightened as I saw his furious expression. It shattered my heart completely. The room fell into silence, and Caroline, wincing in pain, stood up and embraced Enzo. I quickly slipped into my room, closed the door, and tears fell uncontrollably. After gathering myself, I wrote and sent my resignation letter. Only few days left. At the dinner table, the boss called me. I put down my chopsticks and went into the room to answer. When I came back, Enzo asked in surprise, Why do you need to do the handover? Are you quitting? I took a bite of food and replied calmly, Just transferring positions. Enzo didn't say anything else and kept serving Caroline. After the meal, Enzo went into the room and said to me, Tomorrow, we'll go pick out rings. My fingers stopped typing. Just the two of us. Enzo nodded. Seeing me continue working, he left the room. In the afternoon, as I was about to leave, Caroline happened to be sitting on the sofa. The moment she saw me, she gave a slight smile, then lowered her gaze to the jade bracelet on her wrist. You know, this is the wedding gift Enzo gave me, and it's the 99th gift. She looked up, her eyes full of pride and provocation. I ignored her and was about to open the door when Caroline continued, "We stayed up late last night writing the invitations. It was exhausting. After all, it's a wedding. For 3 people, but he said there's no need to invite you." I sneered coldly. "Thanks for your hard work." Caroline walked up beside me, dropping the act. "Rain needs clouds, a person needs their face. Enzo has already brought me home. Why don't you get it? Do you really think he wants to marry you? Then why are only my name and his on the invitation?" In an instant, my face turned pale. She leaned close to me, flashing the sparkling diamond ring on her finger. "Our wedding photos and rings are all ready. What about yours?" Seeing that I remained silent, Caroline held her phone up in front of me. A video played on the screen, and shameful sounds kept coming from it. The volume grew louder, making my face flush with embarrassment, while Caroline became even more brazen. "Do you know what his favorite move is?" She leaned into my ear and continued. "He said he loves it when I'm on top. Seeing me enjoy it makes him feel more alive. He said when he's with you, you're like a dead fish, unable to stir any passion in him." After speaking, Caroline burst into laughter. I, pale as a ghost, fled in panic, but unexpectedly tripped at the doorway and fell to the ground. Dizziness overwhelmed me, and a hot rush surged from my lower body. When I opened my eyes again, everything was a blur of white, with Enzo's worried gaze fixed on me. I turned my head away. Enzo tightly held my cold hand, choking up as he said, "You've had a miscarriage. The baby was almost 2 months along." Hearing this, my tears spilled uncontrollably, drowning into the pillow. I heard him continue, "Your health isn't good right now. Maybe we should postpone the wedding," I gritted my teeth and nodded with difficulty. "Okay." At mealtime, Enzo helped me sit up and thoughtfully fed me a bowl of porridge himself. After the meal, he carefully wiped my face, hands, and body. Watching him do all this, I felt like laughing. Was this a slap followed by a sweet treat? Unfortunately, I no longer cared for that sweet treat. On the 6th night, Caroline appeared in the ward, covered in wounds. Enzo took her outside the ward, and I opened my eyes to look toward the door. Caroline clung to him, crying bitterly. As the sounds outside gradually faded, I slowly got up and followed the noise to the stairwell. I heard Caroline say fearfully, "My ex-husband is going to take me back. We have to hurry and hold the wedding, or I really won't survive." Her voice was urgent, but Enzo remained silent. Caroline's voice grew softer and softer. "Forget it. I can't keep dragging you down. It's all my fate. I wasn't meant to live long anyway." But as she turned to leave, Enzo quickly reached out and held her. "I promise you, I will make it happen. This time, I will never let you leave me again." "What about her?" "I'll take care of her for the rest of my life." Then Enzo continued, "It's a good thing the child is gone. Otherwise, what would you have done?" In an instant, I felt my blood freeze. Overwhelmed by emotion, Caroline cupped Enzo's face and kissed him, and the two of them began to lose themselves on the staircase. I wiped the cold tears from my face and fled the scene in a panic. That night, Enzo only sent me one message: "Tomorrow's wedding is cancelled. I'll handle the aftermath first, and once I'm done, I'll come to the hospital." I opened the footage from the camera at my doorstep, intending to review the video of me falling that day, but instead, I saw something even more shocking. I saved the recording and set it to be sent via email at a scheduled time. At 9 in the morning, I packed my things and headed straight to the airport. I sent him one last text: "Congratulations on your wedding." As I boarded the plane, my phone kept ringing non-stop. I looked down and saw it was Enzo. Messages kept coming in. "Bonnie, where are you? Please, just say something." Enzo's mind kept replaying the text message. He was overwhelmed with anxiety, his hands trembling as he repeatedly dialed the number. But it was always a disconnected line. "Enzo, it's time for us to go." Toast. Caroline, dressed in an evening gown and holding a wine glass, walked up beside him. Enzo ignored it, focusing solely on dialing his assistant's number, find out where Bonnie went. A moment later, the assistant called back, "Boss, I've searched for a long time, but there's no trace of her anywhere." What? Enzo was shocked. Meanwhile, I was sitting on the plane, gazing at the night sky outside the window, firmly believing that everything would only get better. Arriving in a foreign country, accompanied by my best friend Elena, I gradually emerged from my sadness. Immersed in work every day, just as the old saying goes, unlucky in love, successful in career. Projects kept getting won, and my position and salary rose accordingly. To celebrate my promotion, I treated my colleagues to dinner and karaoke. It was also the first time I met the company boss. Elena took my hand and led me up to him. He reached out his hand to greet me. Hello, Bonnie. I stared at him in shock. You're Eric. Looking at Eric's tall, upright figure, almost sculpted to perfection. If it weren't for the mole between his brows, I might not have recognized him. As a child, he was chubby and constantly had a runny nose. He was a completely different person compared to now. Eric raised an eyebrow. After graduating from elementary school, I immigrated here with my parents. I tried every way to find you, but you never once replied to me. I couldn't help but be surprised to see a look of disappointment on his face. What was he feeling lost about? Elena sat beside me, her face full of curiosity. When we got home, her gossiping spirit flared up. Bonnie, why have you never mentioned Mr. Eric before? We were classmates in elementary school. After he moved away, we lost all contact. I poured myself a glass of water and sat on the sofa, scrolling through my phone, only to find a message from Enzo. Bonnie, stop causing trouble. Come home in 3 days, or I'll come find you myself. I don't know where he got my new number from. Now, I don't want to think about him anymore, so I quickly deleted the message and tossed my phone aside. Elena kept whispering in my ear. They say Mr. Eric is a man of integrity, but he's liked a girl for many years. No one knows who she is. She's really so lucky. I stared at the ceiling and sighed. Is being loved really happiness? Then the one who isn't loved must be sorrowful. Seeing my mood shift, she immediately changed the subject. The company is organizing a team building trip in a couple of days, probably somewhere nearby. Do you want to join? Thinking of that text message, I decided to join the team building event. 3 days later, I got in the car with Elena. She greeted me briefly and then headed straight to the back seat. I glanced around and saw that the only empty spot left was next to Eric. I sat down and smiled, nodding at him. Eric had a strong presence, and the atmosphere felt a bit awkward. Fortunately, he took the initiative to start a conversation, and we chatted smoothly all the way, making the time fly by. When we arrived at the hotel, seeing me in high heels, Eric carefully helped me out of the car. I sensed a burning gaze and turned to see Enzo staring at me with a face full of anger. Eric, seeing that I didn't move, assumed it was because of the cold local weather, and that I was only wearing a thin dress. He took off his jacket and draped it over me. This gesture immediately caused the surrounding colleagues to start teasing, and I could only lower my head and walk inside. Enzo grabbed my hand and quickly took the elevator. As soon as the doors opened, he led me into his room. I tried to break free, but he held me tightly. Once inside, he forcefully tore off my clothes and pressed me against the wall. The cold touch made me shiver, but he didn't notice my reaction and demanded, "What is this? Abandoning me to be with another man? Bonnie, stop messing around. Come back with me right now. I won't allow you to leave me again." Just as he was about to lean in, slap, I struck his face with a palm and pushed him away. I shouted loudly, "Are you clear-headed now, Enzo? It's over between us. There's no need for you to cling on anymore. From now on, bridges and roads go their separate ways." I ran out of his room, and Eric was waiting at the door. I couldn't hold on any longer, and fainted to the ground. When I woke up, Eric was sitting on the armchair with his eyes closed. Elena sat on my hospital bed. "Bonnie, are you feeling better?" As soon as she spoke, Eric immediately opened his eyes and got up, walking over. His warm palm touched my forehead. "No fever anymore. I have to get busy now. Contact me anytime if you need anything." After Eric left, Elena hurriedly poured me some water and asked, "How did Enzo find you?" I shook my head. I don't know where he got the information. I changed everything, so he shouldn't have been able to find me. Back at the hotel, I rummaged through my suitcase and found a couple's keychain in the corner. When I took it apart, I discovered a miniature tracker hidden inside. I angrily grabbed it, ready to confront Enzo, but as soon as I stepped outside, he was already standing at the door, holding a bouquet of tulips, Caroline's favorite. I'm sorry, Bonnie, I was wrong, I snorted coldly. Enzo, I don't need your apology, take this thing back. I threw the miniature tracker at him. Enzo's face instantly turned pale. He opened his mouth to explain. I put this on when we first got together, so you could know my exact location. When did you switch yours with mine? I laughed angrily. Enzo, don't think so dirty of people. I'm not you. I can't do something immoral. Since we're breaking up, let's part on good terms and not make things awkward for each other. Enzo wanted to say more, but I closed the door, cutting off his arguments. I didn't leave the room that day, and when the doorbell rang, I thought it was Elena bringing me food. Hearing the door open, I lay on the bed and said, Elena, I can't eat. Just leave it on the table for now. People are like iron, and food is like steel. If you skip a meal, you'll feel feverish. It's already evening, and you still haven't eaten. I recognized Eric's voice and immediately got out of bed, running my hands through my messy hair. Seeing my uneasy expression, he smiled and said, You look a bit like you did when you were a kid. I put on my coat and obediently sat at the table to eat. I was indeed hungry. When I opened the dishes, it turned out to be my favorite Hunan cuisine. Eating my beloved spicy food in this foreign land was incredibly delicious, so flavorful that tears welled up in my eyes. I remembered being with Enzo. To match his eating habits, I gave up spicy food. But Caroline liked sweet flavors, so his dishes always had sugar in them. Eric handed me a tissue. After wiping away my tears and nose, I quickly finished my meal. Seeing my hearty appetite, he affectionately patted my head. Are you full? I'll take you for a walk. The night view here is really nice. The neon lights flickered on the street, every corner a scene to behold. I picked up my phone to take a photo, but when the camera opened, it was on the front-facing mode. Eric was staring at me intently, and I accidentally pressed the shutter button. He snapped back to reality and, a bit embarrassed, said, Want me to take a few pictures for you? Take 9 photos, that way you can post a 9 grid. I handed him the phone, and after he carefully took a few shots, he suddenly stared at the screen in a daze. Then he handed the phone back to me. You have a message. I took it and saw it was a video sent by Enzo's friend. Enzo was dead drunk, back to his reckless, wasted days. Muttering my name and saying sorry. Belated affection is worth less than grass. I deleted both him and his friend's contact information. I don't want to get involved with rotten people and rotten things anymore. Having lost all interest in going out, I took a taxi with Elena back home. Late at night after returning to the hotel. In the days that followed, Enzo would send some things. Still the little trinkets I used to like. Back then, I would have been happy for days, but now I didn't need any of it. I threw everything, along with the delivery boxes, straight into the trash. Whenever Eric wasn't busy, he would invite me out for dinner, or to watch a movie, but I always declined. I didn't want to waste time on relationships. What's the point of love making? Money is the real way. Elena couldn't stand it and said, Bonnie, not all men are like Enzo. You should open your heart to accept others. Just like they say, only by letting go of the wrong can you meet the right. I rolled my eyes at her. Read fewer romance novels, they're bad for your brain. I didn't say anything wrong. Mr. Eric has money, if he wants it, and looks to match. What are you dissatisfied with? Yeah, he's great in every way, but I just don't feel anything for him. Okay. After saying that, I turned and caught Eric's resentful gaze as he quickly walked into his office. When I entered his office with the proposal, his face was calm and composed, but his words were sharp and confrontational. Finally, he blurted out, What do you mean, you don't feel anything? I was stunned for a moment, blushing as I looked at him. It's okay, I can wait. Patiently. After all, I've already waited 15 years, so a little more time won't make a difference. He signed the document with ease, grabbed his phone, and left, leaving me standing there completely baffled. Seeing how clumsy I was with matters of the heart, Elena wished she could crawl inside my mind. Days passed by quietly, and I thought I would never cross paths with Enzo again, but unexpectedly, Caroline came looking for me. I didn't want to see her, but Elena told me her belly was quite big with child. What could have driven her to travel so far to find me? The moment she saw me, her face was etched with urgency. Bonnie, please, tell me where Enzo is. Can you make him come out and see me? Seeing her so tense and noticing she was pregnant, I quickly helped her sit down. I responded seriously, I have no contact with Enzo. That's impossible. Caroline was extremely anxious. She stood up and was about to kneel down. I beg you, you must know where he is. Since we were at the company, Caroline's voice was especially loud, drawing the attention of all the colleagues to me. I had no choice but to take her to the cafe next to the office. In our conversation, Caroline believed Enzo was her savior. The moment Enzo left, she felt as if she had lost her soul. After I struggled to calm Caroline down, it was already dark. I saw her off into a car, then got into a taxi parked nearby. The smell inside was off, but before I could react, I was already losing consciousness. When I opened my eyes, I found myself tied to a chair in an abandoned factory. Caroline, with her pregnant belly, was looking at me, her attitude completely different from the daytime. Bonnie, I just don't believe Enzo won't come out once he knows you're missing. I looked at her coldly and said, you're overestimating me. You might not know, but ever since you left, Enzo has completely changed. The wedding's off, he hasn't done a single thing he promised me, and he even took back the jade bracelet he gave me. Caroline lowered her head and looked at her belly, saying, he doesn't even want our child. He actually said this child is a bastard. Seeing Caroline's face grow increasingly twisted, I dared not provoke her further and just ignored her. But she had no intention of letting me off. At that moment, a man walked in from outside. Caroline, we agreed, no one is going to get hurt. Caroline turned to look at him, a strange smile playing on her lips. I want Enzo to see her turn into a hideous monster, so he won't keep thinking about her anymore. The man tried to stop her, but he was afraid of hurting her belly, so he could only stand by helplessly. I recognized this man as the one in the video I recorded. He was Caroline's ex-husband, John. Caroline had been deceiving Enzo all along. John treated her well, but she was never satisfied, always craving a better material life, so she went back to Enzo. The video captured their conversation and also showed them entwined on the sofa. Perhaps after seeing the video, Enzo felt betrayed by Caroline and disappeared. When I came to my senses, the sharp knife in Caroline's hand was about to fall on my face. I struggled with all my might, but it was useless. The ropes bound me tightly. So I closed my eyes and waited, when suddenly I heard Enzo's voice, Caroline, stop. The pain didn't come crashing down on me. I opened my eyes to see Enzo tightly gripping the knife in Caroline's hand, blood pouring down. Seeing my wide-open eyes, Enzo spoke gently, don't be afraid, I'm here. She won't do anything to you. As I suspected. Bonnie, you really can lure him out. Caroline's gaze was venomous, sending a chill through me. When John saw Enzo arrive, he stormed over to Caroline's side, took the knife from her hand, and plunged it mercilessly into Enzo's body. As Enzo came to, he said, Enzo, this is what you owe Caroline. You played her and then threw her away. This is what you deserve. Enzo fell to the ground, his eyes filled with deep affection and guilt. I saw his lips move, opening and closing. I'm sorry, I love you. Then, he closed his eyes weakly. What meaning does a belated confession hold? John turned his gaze back to me, and I could see he intended to kill me to silence me. I couldn't help but scream. At that moment, a gunshot rang out. John collapsed before my eyes, his eyes still open, blood spilling from his mouth. In an instant, I felt light as air, as if I were dreaming. Caroline ran out of the factory, screaming like a madwoman. After that, I didn't know where she went. All I knew was that when I woke up, Eric was by my side. I never inquired about Enzo again. Whether he was dead or alive had nothing to do with me. In this tangled web of love and hate, no one emerged a winner. Since then, in the dead of night, I would wake up from nightmares. Eric wiped the sweat from my brow and soothed my restless heart. Gradually, I was moved by his sincerity, and he held a grand wedding for me. At the wedding, I thought I caught a glimpse of Enzo's figure, but it was just a fleeting glance. I no longer paid it any mind. As we basked in the blessings of our friends and family, after my wedding with Eric is done, when we were in honeymoon, I saw a disheveled woman cradling a baby just a few months old. She held the child with one arm while grabbing food with the other, stuffing it into her mouth as if she hadn't eaten in ages. When I clearly saw her, it was then that I recognized her. It was Caroline. Perhaps she was just pretending to be crazy, but the moment she saw me, she turned and fled in panic. I paid her no mind. Eric asked me if I could give him a daughter, and I pinched him. His face drooped. Then I whispered in his ear, "It depends on your performance." He excitedly carried me to the room. We had a daughter as he wished. May God bless us with happiness forever. End.